Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Always Almost There, Day After Show Live. Today is Sunday, October 5th. We are here to talk about last night's show in Philly where Goose did some shit. And we are joined by our good friends, and the reason why we were late today, because we want to honor their podcast as well. Megan and RJ of HF Pod. Hi, guys.
Shots fired right off the bat. Wow. Hey, guys, it's really good to see you and be here.
I don't have
We had a
anything
fun
to
time last night.
Last night was really fun. I'm glad we got to hang
great.
out a little bit.
I believe we've lost Ryan Storm. This is great, actually, because this is the podcast we've all wanted to do. I mean, we can just like dive right in and talk about all the things, but I think we should start first by talking about the pre-show, because there's the man is
A
incredible.
lawless place.
It really does feel lawless, doesn't it? I don't
is
know.
Lawless.
I mean,
yeah.
it's not a bad place for a hometown venue, RJ.
Oh man, it's the best. It's the best. It's like a it's right down the street from my house. It's our home, but it's a beautiful way to close out the man season. Last night was the last show of the season, so it's a pretty awesome finale for them. Yeah, it's just always like the lot's great. It's everything's so chill. It's what a great place.
It was nice yesterday, too, because Carrie from Western Sun, she had an awesome RV set up, and we were all hanging out there, and it was perfect weather. You know, I had like a button down on. I wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cold. It was perfect. It was a nice reprieve after the last time I was at the Man for Fish, which I actually am still hot from. It was so hot that day.
Yeah.
It's like not okay.
Ridiculous.
Out of control. I know. My daughter really suffered that day. But yeah, last night was great. I should have brought her last night because I think she would have enjoyed the vibe and probably the show a little bit better too. It's a much better show than the fish show I saw there. Let's be honest.
Night 2 of the Man was not the best. But of course, we are here to talk about Goose, as we said, and as you know, because you're watching this podcast. Before we dive in, of course, tour may have ended, but we are still very excited to be partnered with Hannah and Kait, aka the Cacao Girls, for this run. If you've ever wanted to elevate your concert experience beyond your usual pre-show routine, Hannah and Kait have created something amazing called the Conscious Pregame. Whether you're at the show or on the couch, they guide you through cacao ceremonies and meditative rituals to ground your energy, open your heart, and connect more deeply with the music, the moment, and the community. Goose Tour may be over, but there's lots of other things that you can do on the couch and remotely with the Conscious Pregame. So visit hannahandkait.com and use code AATPOD for 15% off any purchase over $25. Yay. All right. Let's talk about this show, shall we?
Yeah,
Sure.
let's do it.
All right. Well, let's start with you, Megan, on the opener. Let's go with the first three here. Pancakes and Seekers starting off.
Well, I think it was a great opener. I think overall the show had such excellent flow and setlist construction. And I think coming out with a strong, energetic opener like Pancakes and taking us to that Rick Bliss Peak heaven right away. It was nothing out of the ordinary, but I think it's a great way to start a show. Like super energetic, nice statement. And I think going into Seekers is perfect there. I think this is a really nice place for Seekers. And when I think of Seekers, I always think this is like Genesis Goose. There's this similarity between Genesis and Goose to me in that like they both have an atmospheric vibe to their music. It's really kind of theatrical and like strong conceptually and like these lyrical narratives. I think Seekers, Elmeg is like that too. And I always love, it kind of puts you right in the headspace you want to be for a Goose show. And I was thinking a lot last night too about the way that Genesis kind of moved from like this ambitious progressive rock band to like this commercially successful pop rock band. And I was thinking a lot about how Goose might be interested in doing that a little bit more. I don't know. I was just thinking about how much they've been playing like a lot of radio friendly covers. And it's interesting seeing them kind of dance between this idea of like getting new fans and playing music that's a little bit more accessible than jam music. And it's been fun kind of watching them dance between those two kind of directions. So I was thinking a lot about that last night. But yeah, Seekers was beautiful. Goose vibe,
jammed
epic
it.
Storytelling. And they jammed it. Yeah, which is fun.
Big deal. Big deal. Also, it's funny that you mentioned Genesis because I'm pretty sure Cotter did the In the Air Tonight fill during Seekers Part 2.
Maybe that's why I was thinking about it.
Yeah, but I'm waiting on confirmation on whether that was intentional or not.
He
That's
has
so funny.
introduced these new toms that are very Genesis-esque, and it was intentional. I think that sound
You think it was
is
Really?
intentional? Because last
Well,
night when
yeah.
I asked you, you were like, I don't know.
Really? No, if you watch they have like the vlogs in
Yeah.
between shows, and you never see those, Ryan, because you're always at the show. But those of us who watch, couch tour shows get to see these things. And there's one where Jordan talks about Cotter's toms and the very intentional choice to go for that
I did
sound.
watch that one, by the way.
Did you? Oh,
Yeah.
how about that?
I think you told me that one because it was them following Jordan around with a camera, which is always entertaining.
Yeah.
So love that. They jammed Seekers, guys. We're not excited
Big
enough
deal.
about this. It's been 5 years since Seekers debuted, and I think the whole time there have been people being like, "What if you jammed it?" And usually it was people asking for part 2 to get jammed out. And there were a lot of people last night being like, "Wow, Ryan must hate that they're jamming out Seekers Part 1." On the contrary, I went to the bathroom and then I got back and then they jammed it. It was perfect.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think this is the earliest placement for a Seekers ever. I'd be surprised if there was an earlier one. RJ, what are your thoughts on the opening here?
Well, so I'm gonna just, the podcast is for keeping it real, so I'm just gonna tell you guys my honest take on the beginning of the show, which is that, like, I guess maybe I haven't seen Goose since we saw them together at Forest Hills last year, so it's been like 16 months or something, something like that. So it's been a long time since I've seen them live, and like the Pancakes opener I thought was great, but it was so like not predictable, but just like it just did exactly what I
Did the thing.
expected it
Yeah.
to do in
Yeah.
exactly the amount of time that I kind of like thought it would as an opener. And I thought the Seekers, like once they, the Seekers like break down into like where it started to sound like Dark Star for a couple minutes before it started jamming, I was like, okay, this is awesome. But
Yeah.
the show didn't really like click for me really until Big Modern. And I don't know, I mean, I have some theories
Sorry,
on why
man.
that is, but but I just was sort of like, am I in a different world of Goose now? Like, did I like the 16 months since I saw them last? It's kind of a different band. And I wanted to talk more about that because I think it feels more like going to an indie rock show now than it did a couple years ago. And part of that's the
Yeah.
size and the scope, and like the whole thing is so much bigger, and the sound, like it's all dialed in and so professionalized, obviously. But it feels a little bit like going to a My Morning Jacket show that jams than like what I in my mind associate with going to a Goose show, which is like, like going to the 930 Club or something bigger than 930. But you know what I mean? I don't know. Do you guys like?
I have a follow-up question about that. Do you think it is because like it feels more prescriptive, like, or tightly, like less risky? Like is the music sounding less like risk taking, or because that's a little bit of what it felt like to me,
Well,
like
that's been
less walking on the edge of like finding new things and more like prescriptive.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the thing that I've been talking about that I haven't loved about this fall tour, where they haven't been taking those risks nearly as much as they were at the beginning of the year. But yeah, Neil, what do you think about that?
I mean, this is a recurring theme. We've been talking about this now for weeks, I guess. And first sets especially feel this way. And I actually like the Pancakes opener because it actually stepped outside of the very prescriptive thing that they normally do in first sets.
Now, this is the
So-
fourth Pancakes opener this year, but yes,
Yes, but when was the last time they opened with Pancakes?
Iowa.
It's been a while. So my point is there's a jam to start the show, and it's not just opening up the songbook and doing a bunch of songs that people are going to know. And that's what they've been doing. And, Ryan's been frustrated about it. I've definitely been frustrated about it, where it's just they all kind of start to feel the same. And it's tough to sit around and have a podcast about a band that just plays a set of songs. That's why there aren't podcasts
Right.
about, bands that just
Yeah.
play the same set every night, or just, there's no improvisation or anything. And, that's where we got on the 3-pack of openers, 4-pack of openers thing, because it's just like, what else is there to say about it when it's all the same? Right. And so
Yeah.
first sets do have started to feel that way. And the remarkable thing is you guys got really lucky. You saw a first set that kind of did step out and jam a little more than a first set normally does.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean that totally makes sense. And I think like part of the, I don't really view it as risky versus not risky. Like in my mind, it's just sort of like I've been looking forward to the show for whenever they announced it, and you go in with expectations or what you're hoping to see, and that's a dangerous game, as we know. But I think like the size and scope and production of their shows is just it just feels so much bigger, and it feels so much more. Um, I mean, Fish is like a very professional experience to go see a show, but it also just feels like when the lights go out at a Fish show, like you have no idea what's going to happen.
Right.
And I and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
and I still think that's true for Fish. And I felt like the beginning part of the first set last night, even though what you're saying about Seekers jamming for the first, like it was not typical, but that I think the opener and the jam, Pancakes jam, felt to me like, okay, what is this? Are we like going through? Are we going to just do like a 8-minute song with a rock peak? Is that the approach we're taking? So I probably drew too many conclusions based on the first song.
Yeah, but I will say
know.
that did hold up. I think like the three kind of like big songs in this set did go to pretty big bliss peaks a lot of the
Mhm.
time, or big rock peaks. So
Yeah.
I don't think,
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you get sorry. You get the second half of the set. You do start to get a little more improvisation, obviously. I mean, I really like where this Dustin went before they segued into Rockdale. I think while this
Yeah.
show is way far beyond what we've seen on pretty much this entire tour, you still get that little bit of a Rick chord, if you will. I think that jam was really going somewhere. You get an amazing. I know. See, Neil was really happy about the segue into Rockdale last night. It's a fantastic segue, but I think
Yeah,
that
it's
just the
beautiful.
way that Dustin jam was going and opening up, and what Peter was doing on the roads, especially, it was really, really fantastic. But Neil, you liked this segue.
I like the segue. I think Dustin Hoffman is a great song, and it's an excellent
Yes.
first set song. It's like a dancer, but it's like also super poppy, and it's got all of the elements of being a great first set song. And I feel like when they jam it, there's really only one place it typically goes. When you exhaust that idea, it's time to move on. Now, I like the segue here, but I don't like what they did with the Rockdale after. It's a damn shame that they just kind of did the radio version of Rockdale and then walked away from it.
Yeah.
Because like it felt like they had a thread going there, and then it just kind of got lost when Rockdale ended kind of quickly.
Yeah.
Rockdale
Yeah.
sounded great though.
I was surprised, and maybe this is what you're saying about the first set, Neil. Like I was surprised we didn't hear Royal or even like Mr. Action or Dr. Darkness or something in there, like in the first 3 or 4 songs. Maybe those have all been played more recently, but it felt like if you were going because you just bought the album and you were like, I'm going to check these guys out. You would not.
You
I mean,
heard
besides
one
Rockdale.
song.
Yeah.
You heard one song from Chain Your Dragon last night, which is
Yeah,
so
it's
weird. Like
crazy.
I know Megan, you really wanted Madalena. Royal was just
I
played
know.
the other night in Richmond on Friday, but we did not have a single Mr. Action this entire tour.
Wasn't it on the
Wow.
set list for the night
Which is
before?
wild. Yeah, it was supposed to be the encore one of the nights in Richmond. But yeah, really surprising. That one really sticks out. Like there's stuff like Torero that we're like, why didn't they play it? But like a radio friendly song off of your album that you used to play every 3 shows.
I was going to
is
say that
just
you play a
not-
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just didn't get played all tour, which is weird.
Yeah, I was really excited to hear Dustin Hoffman. I love that song. I love Rick's forays into like existential questions about life. And I think he does that so well. And he can write a hook so good. I mean, the chorus is so good in this. And I love how there's like this breakdown in the chorus and then just a huge solo that comes out of it. And I thought that Cotter, I was sitting like 12 rows back from him. And it was my first time ever being pretty close to him and watching him. What a machine. He's just
my
an
God, yeah.
absolute joy to watch. And he did so much in this show that I just couldn't get away from it. He was like crashing and keeping the beat rolling at the same time underneath it. And it kind of led into that mellow jam that you're talking about. And we got really like soft lyrical playing from Rick that I thought was absolutely beautiful. It felt really watery. And then when Peter moved to the piano, I was like, yes, this is like getting so rich. And then they brought it into Rockdale, which I thought the segue was awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's, there's something about Rockdale that's obviously great. It's such a sing-along song, and he's so authentic while he's singing it, which is I think why it works, but just kind of led to like the jangly rock peak, that doesn't really do much.
Right. Well, that's Rockdale
That's
also.
fine.
Like there are several versions that have been absolutely incredible, like Cleveland 2022, obviously Westville 2024. But for the most part, it's like 10 minutes. Rockdale. It's gonna be fun. And that's what they do here, which is fine. But then they play Big Modern, and this was the first time in the show where I told Neil what song they were gonna play. He told me I was completely wrong, and then they played the song that I called, which is always fun.
It's a great segment of the podcast where we
Yeah.
pat ourselves on the back.
Yeah,
I just love when I'm right and you're wrong.
I'm just surprised you're so humble about it, Ryan. It's like, it
Well,
takes a lot of
for the
restraint.
record, I would expect Neil to do the same thing if he called something. I told him point blank that he was wrong and it wasn't happening, and then it happened. So
You know what's actually really funny about this is I have no recollection of that. I know it happened later in the show, but I don't remember this one at all. But hey,
Of course.
I guess it did happen. I don't know if
Yeah.
you say so.
Hey,
anyway, Big Modern. And
Yeah.
I've talked about Big Modern endlessly on this podcast. So I want to hear RJ and Megan. This was both of your first time seeing the song live.
oh yeah, good point.
What was the experience like?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna do what Ryan did and talk about how I've been trying to tell Brian and Megan for months and months how amazing Big Modern is, and they finally came around and were like, "You were right." And so I won't do that because that'd be weird. So that was the first. So there's this little part at the beginning of the jam when Rick starts hitting that chord like every 8 measures, like at the beginning of the jam, and that's when I was like, okay, this is like the first time I heard like them just being patient. Like it felt really like open, and up to that point, like I think I was sort of like, where's this going? But right at that point I was like, okay, this is awesome. And then when Rick and Peter start kind of going back and forth and Peter gets on the piano, like the jam just built so well and so patiently. I was like, this is awesome. And I think the song's great. Like I love the lyrics, I love the chorus. I think it's an awesome song. So I was really happy to hear it, but I thought that jam was really cool, especially because they just took their time getting into it.
Yeah, I was wrong about this song. I'll totally admit it. I mean, when I first heard this song, it has the jarring opening chords and it sounds like an 80s car commercial. And at first that really bothered me. And it's also filled with kind of those cliche, like funny little, like pithy, silly comments. But I realized it reminds me a little bit of like some of what I love about AC/DC Bag, and that it's like a song that turns cliches on its head and like piles them on each other. And it makes you laugh. And I was thinking last night how great that song is live. Like it's such a kind of a big, strong song, and it plays so well in a stadium. And I was thinking actually last night while I was watching it, that it reminded me of something that would have been in like Back to the Future or a movie like that. Like I can see it, like it's so cinematic in a way, that song. And then the post-show music was The Power of Love when we were walking out, and I was like, whoa, that's weird. Anyway, but yeah, I thought that this was exciting. Like the crescendo that builds up in this jam, like right before the chorus, is so fun. But then I felt like the jam kind of petered out at the end. Like it kind of just lost steam, it felt like.
Now you're talking Neil's language.
It just
Neil actually hates Big Modern.
I don't hate Big Modern. This was a big topic last night. People were like checking in on me, like saying like, "How is Neil that they're playing Big Modern?" So I'd like to set the record straight because I do like Big Modern. I do. My problem with Big Modern is that it can tend to just kind of get into a groove and only do one thing, and it'll do it for about 20 minutes, and then it'll end. And I realized last night that that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you're at the show. There was a stretch where it was just like a wall of sound, and it wasn't going anywhere, and there weren't significant changes. It wasn't a super dynamic jam, but it just like felt really good, and it felt big, and it was just the right thing for the moment. And I love the song In the Shed. It's amazing, and just the energy and the lights and everything was kind of all happening at once, and I was like, all right, I'm sold. Yeah. This is great, and this is not like an all-timer Big Modern or anything. But I like that it actually got put back into the first set. When the song was introduced, it was almost always in the first set. And then for a long stretch, it was just in the second set. And then here and there, they would play it in the first set. Like I think last time they did it was, maybe about like 4 months ago.
Vegas was the last first set version. We had 6 consecutive second set Big Moderns.
And
Rick also does that. Yeah, Rick also does that thing here that you were talking about yesterday when we were talking about the Richmond Arcadia, where it's just like those long stretches of like nailing like 30-second notes, and it's just like awesome.
I mean, his precision is outrageous. It's like sometimes like you just watch him go and you're just like, this is insane. This is a guy who's at the top of his game. His guitar playing is just so crisp and he flubs nothing. And when he's doing that, and you just have this barrage of notes hitting you, and then Cotter is also just an absolute barrage of drums. I mean, it's something, and that's all happening in this big modern jam. You're really just kind of having the whole thing wash over you. It's pretty great.
Big modern, and then give it time to close the set because Goose is allergic to finishing big modern.
Man,
Mhm.
what a great way to finish a set. Are you kidding me? That was awesome.
It's the
Fucking love that
best
song.
set one closer. It really is. And like I want to say at the Man, there are no chompers at the Man. Like everyone was singing
Debatable.
along and so invested.
Very
Well, at least
debatable.
where I was in the pavilion, there was no chompers. Everybody was so dialed in, and it was really nice.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah, and everybody knows the words to that song. It's awesome.
That was the thing. Neil and I had a couple of those moments looking around the venue last night where we were just like, "There's so many people at this Goose show. Like this is
Yeah, like that's the
And,
thing.
like,
It's
that
like
was
I mean,
one
it
of
was
the things.
close to sold out. I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
It had to be. Everything was packed. The lawn, everything was packed. It's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, the full crowd sing along and clapping is, I think, something that's really unusual for a jam band show. I don't know. Maybe it's not. But I'm not used to seeing it. But the clapping last night in this, like I could hear it like all around me. I had like 360 degrees of like people being actively engaged in the music. And that is a cool thing about this song. It's just a great song, man. It's a great pop hit and it crushes.
It's so anthemic. It's like it's timeless, and it's a really special song.
RJ.
Yeah, I love it. I love the song. If every time I go to a Goose show they play this song, I'd be like thrilled. Just play it as an encore or a set
They
one
sometimes
closer
do.
every time. Great, good for them. It's their
Yeah.
it's the closest thing. It's the closest thing to like a radio hit that they have. I think, and I think it's like because it's modern. Like I think it's interesting. A lot of these songs on Chain Your Dragon, which I think is awesome. Like there's so much 70s and 80s like vibe on there, and
Yes.
some on the Everything Must Go too. But like Give It Time is just such a modern sounding song. Like it sounds like something that you'd hear on the radio right now. Which is I think makes it a little bit more of a. It just has a different feel than like Royal or even Madalena or anything.
I
Goose is
totally
a
agree,
Christian rock
and
band.
it never really occurred to me, but you're totally right. And I think especially if you think about like Rockdale to me could be a huge radio hit, but it sounds straight out of like the band 70s. It's like it has a different energy to it.
Yeah, I like that they recorded a lot of music all at once, and they very intentionally split the albums into two. One kind of holding some of these more modern feeling songs, and then the other kind of having all of these older songs. And a lot of it has to do with when they were written. Give It Time, more recently written, although it could be one of those things. I don't know the full backstory, but Rick could have written it when he was 12 and then pulled it out and then rewrote it, before they debuted it. That might have been done. I don't know. But, everything on Chain Your Dragon kind of was all done around the same time and, about over 10 years ago at this point, because they're mostly Vizzuto songs. So,
But those are all too like a piece of a narrative that Rick's weaving, right? Like all of those Chain Your Dragon songs and like Turbulence and all of that it's one big story, which is I think it's all kind of like folklore-ish, and it has that kind of an energy to it, and I think it is more classic rock based. So yeah, it's really cool how they did that. It's really smart.
All right, and that brings us to the end of the first set here. Now it's time to talk about. We've been talking about it, but now it's really time to talk about Cotter Ellis as we talk about this mist. You guys were also pretty Cotter side where Neil and I were. We were off to the side, so we basically had a perfect view of watching him play from behind him. And oh my God, just absolutely
Insane.
relentless through this jam. And as the Goose expert, I would like Neil to talk about this first, but this is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, I think something happened last night, and you and I were talking about it, I think a little bit in the moment, not chomping necessarily, but kind of like this is a thing coming to fruition. But the Goons has been around for a little while now. And actually, if you go back, you can hear it as early as late last year. So almost a full year ago, it gets introduced. And it's been this kind of kitschy one note thing, which is like fun at a show, but it's not necessarily anything that's really substantive, I guess. And there's been a few over the last year or so. Like I think of the Empress from the Mountain Jam, which Megan was at. And that one had some real depth to it. It was like kind of grimy, a little bit industrial.
Yeah,
And
that was sick.
so it's been this thing that's just kind of going, and it doesn't do much, but every once in a while it does. And then last night they kind of did the Goons without the Goons. And it I don't know, it's fascinating to me. It's like they pulled in that style a little bit, but they didn't embellish and, run the arpeggiator and do all the, the hand claps and all of that noise. Cause it wasn't, well, actually there was some,
I mean, they had the heck. Yeah.
Never mind. Take that back. But yeah, it was just it was a really cool jam that got to an amazing place. And I think it was propped up a little bit by them kind of tinkering with that sound. And now it's this whole new thing that I think sounds incredible. And I just love the way this jam plays out. I mean, the first couple of minutes of it are just straight Michael Jackson. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was having so much fun.
I know.
And then it just kind of explodes into this incredible energy. And the whole place just went bananas. And this is the thing. This is what Goose can do, right? They don't have to, come out and play the hits to get everybody excited or play that familiar cover to get people out of their seats. They could do something like this, which is really challenging for the audience and, engage them.
It's rewarding.
Anyway. Yeah.
When they pull it off like this, and when it's such a success, like it's incredible. And this is like all of them were so dialed in during the jam, which is really cool. And yeah, I mean, Cotter, like, I mean, I talk about the Rhodes so much because I love the way that Peter's Rhodes sounds. And it's all over this jam. But the way that they kind of they keep that thread of like that dance beat going the whole time, but they move through a bunch of different ideas on the way. Like you have that initial groove that they could have been done this jam in 12 minutes if they just did like the initial dance groove and then did the the Goonsy builds and then the peak and then segued, and it would have been cool. But instead they explore these different ideas. You have a melodic suggestion from Rick that they build off of for a while. Trevor does a thing at one point that they all follow. And so there's a lot going on. And this is the kind of thing that we haven't heard a lot of on this tour. And so last night hearing it, I was so happy, but I was also like, God damn it, this is the last night of the tour. And now they're doing it. But that's what jam bands do. But this mist is phenomenal. RJ?
Yeah, you're right. That's what jam bands do. It's just, it's just true. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say like Michael Jackson dance party. I mean, it was really, really fun, and it's interesting. You think about it like as a way of kind of engaging maybe some newish fans, maybe people. I don't know. I'm talking like I know actually what the fans are like I know the demographics, but I'm imagining that some people are discovering the band who are younger and who have listened to the album and listened to live releases on Spotify and then come to a show. And, this is like a good way to show that you can have a sweet dance party, like it's not like a 30-minute tweezer jam where everyone's like losing their minds and melting faces. It's like a totally different approach in a way
We'll do a thing like that later.
Yeah. But it's like it was so fun. It was just fun. And I think fun in a substantive way, like you guys are saying, there's like layers to it. It wasn't just like, let's just do this for as long as possible. But, it had some texture to it, which is awesome.
And RJ, I have to know, based on our experience hanging out with you at the Man Show last year, how far in the air were you jumping during this jam?
There was one point when I was jumping for sure. I thought
did you clear Megan's head?
No, not that high. But I had to hold on to my the waistband of my shorts just to make sure that all the stuff in my pockets didn't fall out. It was like that kind of. I was taking a lot of precautions, but yeah, it was awesome. It was so fun. It was so fun. Like you said, it got into a really good spot.
Yeah, Megan.
Yeah, the beginning of it reminded me of Dancing in the Streets. It had that staccato, upbeat groove that felt really tight and fun. And yeah, I was watching Cotter a lot during this jam, and the way his percussion was just kind of simmering underneath everything. And then I loved that point when the whole band kind of mellowed around him. and then let it slowly build above. And Rick was playing these like repetitive kind of frayed edges chords that just sounded really, really cool. And they were really kind of dynamic about dropping back into a propulsive groove again and then layering on top of that. It was just a journey, and it was really, really fun in the moment. And I really think that Cotter is just, I mean, I know he's been with the band for a long time now, but I'm often still moved by how much their jamming has changed because of him and how incredible he is as a musician. I mean, he's just incredible. Absolutely amazing.
That is the one point that I wanted to make about this that I didn't make when I was saying this, is this jam doesn't happen with a different drummer.
No.
This jam is very quintessentially Cotter.
Yeah.
And he kind of drives the whole thing, and it really is something.
Yeah,
And then
he's
in
got
the
such a
end,
unique touch at this point too.
he
Like,
really
it's-
he hits so hard, but he's also so dynamic, and that he can do many things at once and at different speeds. I don't know how he does it, but the way that it kind of builds up into this really driving jam that launches like right into You Spin Me Right Round. And I think this is where, to me, Goose really sets themselves apart in that they can be a jam band and do some really interesting stuff like this, and then drop into this just ultimate pop song that everybody knows, whether you're, 17 or you're 67, you know this song, and it just brightens up the whole crowd in a way that is really fun. And the whole time they played that cover, Cotter still had that same beat from the jam underneath it. And it was so sick. I was like, oh my God, like the jam was still there the whole time from Cotter. It was just, that was so killer. It's fun because you can kind of approach Goose at different levels now. Like people that aren't super into jam bands and don't follow them wouldn't hear that probably, but we can. And like if Goose can ride that edge of being interesting to people that want really interesting textured layered jam music and people that want pop music to sing along to at a show, like that would be pretty sick.
So this is also, so You Spin Me Round has been something that we've talked about a bunch this year, just because there's some people that like it a lot, some people that don't. But one notable thing is the one last night is the 5th time they've played it this year, and the only one to not be closing the second set or an encore. And I think immediately, and so I think that's part of the reason why people are getting tired of it. And we'll talk about last night's encore as well, where it's like they kind of have a limited pool of encore songs right now because of time management and other factors. But they're playing You Spin Me in that slot a lot. And when they started going into it last night, I was immediately like, this is it. This is a proper use of this song. You're using the momentum from that Miss jam. You are building a fantastic segue, like the Creatures Hollywood Nights from Charlotte last week.
Yes, please.
And you're just like going in, and it was really cool as gradually people realized what the song was.
Yeah.
Because you had like a little bit of a cheer from the crowd, and then more people, and then like he started singing, and then people were really cheering.
That was cool.
But yeah, brought the house down. Missed Spin Me Round. That's a segment by Brian Brinkman's.
Yeah, I had my friend Dave was visiting, and he has seen Goose a couple times, but he was asking me this morning about like their use of that cover. He like loved it. I think it's cool. Like, it's again, like for people who might not see a ton of shows, it's a great cover to like bring in,
Yeah.
Just to like,
if,
just to kind of mix it up a little bit.
If used correctly, it can really have an incredible effect on the set list. And I think it reminds me of this type of cover, and where they place it reminds me of a thing that Strange Folk used to do way, way back in the day. But they would throw in a tune like this late second set, mid second set, and it would always just absolutely bring the house down. And I think that's awesome. And it's not something that, the jam bands that we're super familiar with do, but it's something that folks have been doing for a while now. And it really worked for them. It actually made their shows super fun. And I think same kind of effect here. And like Ryan said, what I do love about this, and the fact it's usage to extend the jam, the vibe that they were carrying out of Mist. And that is cool. It's not just like a, let's play a number that everybody knows just to satisfy the people who don't know our music. It's more than that.
Yeah. And you also get a nice, like, this isn't just a regular Spin Me Round. Like, I thought maybe they were going to like go out and, I thought maybe they were going to finish Mist out of it, but you get a little bit of a type 1.5 kind of major key jam happening here, which is really cool. And Thank you, Kaz, for reminding me to talk about this. Only cover of the night, which
Were
is
you
a
so
very
happy,
welcome
Ryan?
change after 4 covers on Friday. So yeah, good.
Really sad. Sad for me. Sad for me.
Yeah.
There weren't more covers.
You wanted more covers? You don't like Goose songs?
He just wanted
No,
one
you-
cover.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
one.
Well,
Just for RJ.
they're
Not
gonna
It's
play
happening.
okay,
it tonight.
RJ.
They're
They
playing
did-
in Vegas tonight.
They
they
didn't
probably
give
will.
me what I wanted either, so it's okay. They like us both.
I think your
Dislike us both
crusade,
equally.
yeah, your crusade has been a little bit shorter than RJ's has.
A little bit.
RJ is approaching 6 years of chasing the way it is.
That is really messed up.
That is really crazy.
We're still
What
here.
what a funny song to chase, but
Totally.
we're in it now. We can't stop now.
No,
Yeah.
you're
You're
committed.
Committed to the bit. Well, so we were talking before about how Goose can play a big jam that is crowd pleasing. Now let's talk about this jam that pleased a specific part of the crowd and made a lot of other people go to the bathroom. This Madhavan is fucking awesome.
That's
Anyone
it?
wanna? Yeah, I mean, I talk a lot. I'm trying to let you guys talk. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, agreed.
I was
Agreed.
headbanging.
I mean, I think the drop into deep space right away is really cool, and I love that patience. I feel like I want to hear more of that from them. Honestly, I love when Goose is patient, and I'm kind of been missing that from this tour. But when they get into that section, it feels like a growl, and like they're climbing upstairs, and then it builds into this big scenery chewing jam that's really stomping and authoritarian. It was really monster. It had really like big energy vibes. And then the drop into Thatch was just absolutely perfect. I was like, this is how you fourth quarter.
This is how
Fish,
you set
Take
lists.
notes. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Goose take notes because this
Yeah.
is not what set listing has been on this tour. Like this is another thing. It's like not only did we get like confident jamming last night, like Mist, Spin Me Round, Madhavan, Thatch, Elmeg is absolutely insane, and we did not see any sets like that. Like you're not getting a fourth quarter rum. Like you're not even putting a ballad here, right? Like I was expecting Jed Stone at some point last night, but coming out of that huge You Spin Me, I was like, okay, they're gonna do a ballad here for sure.
I know. I thought Madalena was coming for sure, but no.
And Madhavan.
Okay. I was happy with that. I was like, fuck, I'll take that for sure. And I mean, yeah, this is like one of the best set lists I've seen from them in a long time, the second set.
Yeah, that was a great 30, 40 minutes of music. I mean, really awesome. That was I know we'll get to Elmeg eventually, but
Madhavan.
But Madhavan, I'm into the weird stuff, and then like Mike said, into that like bigger jam. It's great. I was having a good time. I was happy with it. Very happy with it.
So this jam for me is like weirdly frustrating in a way because this is the thing I've been yearning for this whole entire tour.
Yes.
Where it's just like, just do the thing. Like Goose is truly excellent when they say,
when they do the thing,
we're just going to do our thing and we don't care if you like it or not. And I wish they did that more often because you can challenge your audience and they will meet you in the middle, many or most of them. And listen, you're nearly selling out the man. You can send a few people away like unhappy with like how that jam went, and that's
100%.
okay because that is how you got to the man almost being sold out is playing shit like that, and so they should do it more often and unapologetically just do the thing that they do.
Yeah.
And so they do it last night at one of the biggest shows of this tour, and it makes you wonder why they don't do that more often. Just do it.
Do they not? Well, what if they don't want to? That's my question. What if Rick wants to play more songs? Like, what if he wants to play more radio-friendly stuff? What if he wants to be?
Night.
I know, but that's what I'm
It's
wondering.
just a weird anomaly, I think, after analyzing this whole tour. And you go to like a 2-night run in Louisville, which is like such a historically strong, like huge Goose fans, people who are dedicated. They've played ginormous jams there before, and we just didn't get that this time. And it's just it's weird. Like I understand like the Alpharetta show, like weird demographic, big venue in a market they haven't played a venue close to that size before. And so you got a little more of a radio show, and they still got a little weird in the Madhavan at the end, which cleared people out at that show too. But it's just weird that you get these moments that are so few and far between. When as like I totally agree with you, Neil. It's like they should be proud of sounding like Goose and playing like Goose, because that is what like people do like that. And for every person that didn't like this Madhavan necessarily, I'm sure they were having an absolute ball during the Mist. So
Yeah.
It's a weird dichotomy.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just like, I don't know, you were saying that earlier when we were talking about the Mist Jam, that you didn't hear a lot of like them each taking moments and being more conversational. Like when jam bands aren't being conversational, they don't jam as much. And I don't know, maybe that's just like the way this tour has been, but I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. Well, you know what else is interesting? Not hitting the final note of Madhavan and hitting Thatch instead.
Sick.
Ridiculous set listing right here. Like even though the Thatch is only 8 minutes and it goes into Elmeg, that's fantastic. Like you already have a ton of improv in this set, and I think rather than just go right into Elmeg, I think it makes the Elmeg more impactful that it was set up by this Thatch, and that there's probably some attendance bias in there just based on the energy in that pavilion last night when they hit that opening note. But man, this was a great pairing to close the set. Fast Elmeg again, Cotter just doing the thing. But yeah, this is a phenomenal way to close the second set.
Yeah, this is my second Elmeg in 2 shows, since the last show I saw was Forest Hills. So I'm like really just getting a lot of that. Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I love seeing that song. It's cool to see. I know, Megan, you mentioning Genesis. I was talking to a friend this morning who went last night also. We were both there at 8 to play basketball. I was proud of us. But he was
proud.
Good job.
He was talking about that song, and he wasn't, I don't think he knew what it was, or maybe he hadn't heard it that much. But I view those songs as like maybe when Rick was listening to more Fish, like
yeah,
the world building,
composition,
more
mythical,
progressive rock stuff. Yeah.
Prog rock, world building, like kind of composition approach to songs. It's cool though. It's a great song.
Yeah, I mean, Seeker's Part 2 always to me sounds like Rick was listening to Fish, but yeah, I totally agree with that. I think for me, this Thatch is a shot of adrenaline. No matter when it's played or where it's played, it's just like boom. And they kind of dropped right back into that staccato funk that they were playing earlier in the Mist, which I thought was really fun. But then it faded into this beautiful section, and Peter got on the piano, and it was so delicate. And Trevor was playing really sparsely, but whenever he hit notes, it kind of resonated so deeply. And then it was a beautiful, beautiful segue into Elmeg. And this is just more folklore, Goose. And I remember the first time I ever heard this song live, I was with you, RJ, at the Cap, and I was still learning a lot about Goose. This is like 2 years ago. And you turned to me, RJ, during this song, and you're like, this song is like really special to the band and to like the fan base. And, it feels meaningful when they play it.
Coincidentally, that version at the Cap is the last time Elmeg was played without being attached to Travelers.
Really?
Wow.
You know what's interesting about this pairing? When they launched into Thatch, I was momentarily disappointed because I was like, this is too much. And it's something that just I'm not used to. Like you finish Madhavan and then like you launch into like another ripper right after. And it's very atypical for Goose to do that. And I was just like, what could this possibly even be at this point? And of course, what results is actually pretty amazing. And I thought that was going to end the set. Like, so this has to be it. And they're like, what? No cooldown? I can, like, all of these things are just being turned on their head. Like everything we expect from Goose is not happening. And then the Elmeg comes, and I didn't see that coming at all. I was thinking like we're gonna do like quick encore break and then come out and do something a little bit longer or something like that. But no, and this Elmeg is really fantastic. I don't want to kind of say the thing that we usually do, and it's like they played Elmeg, it was great, and we move on. But the vibe in the song is completely different. Yeah, it's completely different. And there's a jam that you get at the end, which the past several versions of this are they're just playing the Autumn Crossing version and then they're done. There's nothing really, they're not playing with the song at all. And this one they did, and it was super engaging. And I hope they continue to play Elmeg like this, because I don't know if you two know this, but Ryan and I take a lot of heat on this podcast when we are disappointed when they play Elmeg live.
When they play Autumn Crossing.
When they play the entirety of
Yeah.
Autumn Crossing live, because it's, you're in for 20 to 25 minutes of just something you've already heard before, and it's a lot of it.
It's a big time,
and then,
like a big chunk of time to take. Yeah.
Especially with the way that Goose time manages.
Right. And then so this is entirely different last night, and I don't know, the result is amazing, and I can't wait to actually go back and listen to this. And I don't usually re-listen Elmegs almost ever.
Yeah, I want to listen to it again too. I didn't get to it on the re-listen, but like in the moment, it's so great, and like the lyrics and the way that Rick hits those, like the chorus, it's awesome, beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, this is. I said last night, like this is the first Elmeg that I was excited about at a show since the first Autumn Crossing at Fiddler's last year. Like that. Like I was really excited, and also shout out to a friend of the pod, Rob Zeta, who pointed out that in Burlington, the first headlining show of this tour, they did Travelers into Thatch, and last night, the last headlining show of this tour, they did Thatch into Elmeg. So that's a really cool thing.
That is cool.
That I'm
full circle.
I'm assuming that was intentional. That feels very intentional. But that's a really, really cool thing. And shout out to Rob for noticing that. Jim Pollock, author of last night's poster. I don't know if anyone knows this, but Jim Pollock gets down harder than anybody.
Oh yeah, yeah, he does.
He was getting down to Thatch. Love that.
How can you not get down to Thatch? My God,
it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Great poster last night. Also,
it was really cool. I
wasn't
saw
able to
it.
get one, but we were having too much fun in the lot, and we didn't go get a poster.
We were.
We were
having so much fun.
Encore. This is an interesting one. So they were planning on the written set list. This was supposed to be Empress. Of course, Goose does not time manage in a way that allows them to play an Empress encore ever, unless they don't have a curfew. But this is a better ending to the show than the Last Man show. No Redbird Blue Balls this time. It was maybe the worst ending to a second set ever. But Salt. This is the third Salt encore of this tour. Basically, I said to someone after the show last night, I was like, would you rather hear 3 Salts or a Salt, a Love Light, and a Don't Do It? And then I realized that I've seen 3 Salts and a Love Light and a Don't Do It on this tour, which I thought was funny. But I think I'd rather hear them play an original song that absolutely rips when they have 4 minutes left until curfew than a Love Light.
I just want to tell you guys that if you had given me 7 chances to guess what that song was called during the encore, I wouldn't have. It wouldn't have happened. I would have gone through like all the jives. I had no idea.
Jives. Oh,
I don't even like. I would have been pulling out of thin air. Rachel was like, "What's the song called?" I'm like no idea.
RJ and I are in like that. Sometimes we laugh about it because it's like I feel like RJ, you're playing it off of it, but I do feel like, and sometimes I really have no idea what song Goose is playing still, which is
you can check Setlist FM for
not at the Man, not at the Man, because you don't get service. Like the service is really messed up at the Man. I couldn't pull up anything, because I did want to know, but yeah.
Side note, that was a joke. Please check elgoose.net if you're listening to this. Megan is no longer
I feel like we have to fill people in here.
Yeah. So we were walking
Megan
out of the show
last
night, and
don't
I looked
talk
over.
about it.
I looked
It's
over, and Megan was reading the set list on setlist.fm.
Oh, that's awesome.
And no offense to whoever updates that, but
I had it up because of I was looking at a J-Rad show from when I saw J-Rad recently, and so I just immediately like put in the Goose there, but I didn't realize it at the moment, and then I was like, oh no, this is terrible.
Listen, it's all information has to be reliable. You got to go to the source that is going to be reliable.
That's it. There you go. Ryan, you weren't supposed to tell people that. That's really it's really crushing.
It's really great.
I thought some things were between us. My God.
Not when you break my heart like that. Anyway.
It'll never happen again. Don't worry.
Thank you. Does anyone have any more thoughts on this Salt here?
I liked it. Powerful ending, strong. It's just funny when somebody comes out and Peter's like, we don't have much time. You're like, okay, well, it's not really our fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like,
okay, well,
sorry.
okay, like I don't know what to say when you have like I don't have much time. It's like, well, that's your job. But no, I thought it was really fun and just strong, powerful ending. And I loved the show, even though I didn't get Madalena. I still love them, and I still hopefully I'll get it at Goose Miss.
Yeah, I mean, like this to me, like an encore like this with the time management thing. Like I know that Goose has done this in the past. They've been brave enough to just not do an encore at times, and it's like,
So
you
brave.
run up against a curfew. Like just play. It's like we don't need the break and the clapping. And come back out and play a song. We just wasted 4 minutes. Like you could have just done
So true.
something. It's just like, oh God.
They could
Encores
have
piss
played
me off sometimes.
Madalena and then Salt and then just left the stage. That would have been fucking perfect. Everybody would have went home happy, except you, RJ, but it would have been fine.
I would have been fine. I was fine.
kidding.
I was great. I just think encores are like they just piss me off sometimes.
The pageantry of it you don't like, right?
Yeah.
The like fakeness of it, the like setup and yeah.
Especially if you have very little time. So it's like, okay, clearly we don't have time. There's a big clock on the stage. Like you're like, okay, we have 11 minutes left. Let's like take a break for 4 minutes and talk about what we're gonna play, and then come back out and play something for 7 minutes.
And be like, we don't have a lot of time.
Well, that was like Rick the other night when he was like, well, we were going to do something else, but now we're going to do this. Then they played Love Light, and they were planning on playing Mr. Action, which was weird. But yeah, I agree. Like it sometimes, and it's funny because back in 2021, 2022, when they were doing the non-core thing, I was always like, oh, like I don't like the non-core. But now I'm like, oh, you can do it. Because it's like, yeah, they walk off the stage sometimes at 10:52 with an 11 o'clock curfew, and they're back on stage for the encore at 10:56.
Yeah.
It's like just
Yeah.
last night they were quick at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it can be especially frustrating when it's one of the same two covers that they always do.
Don't do
And
it
so
alone.
last night, I give them a little bit of grace because they played Salt, which is an original, and it's also pretty sick, and I enjoyed it. Although I do prefer longer versions of Salt because what they can do with that song over the course of 10 minutes is pretty amazing. But this was not as heartbreaking as a Don't Do It at the end of the show. That one is frustrating when they're like, we don't have time. And it's just like, well, you definitely took way too long of a set break. And also you played too much in the first set. So you've painted yourself into a corner. That's on you, as you guys have said. But like, and then they come out and do it like a Don't Do It. And it's, oh man, like, come on. Like, just don't leave.
You got limited time and this is your choice. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the thing that like, but Salt, I think I can forgive them for that one.
It's good.
Yeah,
and that's
fair.
the end of the show. And it's our last normal headlining Goose show until 2026, which is crazy. We will be back tomorrow, probably, to recap whatever happens at apparently Firefest in Vegas. Apparently, there are a lot of things going on at that festival. And I've heard if you're going, you should bring a mask because of the dust.
Yikes.
That doesn't sound good.
On the bright side, you're going to hear some hits for 60 minutes. I saw there were a few people who flew from Philly to Vegas this morning. So kudos to you if you did that. Stronger than me.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do it.
Not happening. Nope.
I would not.
By the way, this would be rude. If they played Torero tonight, I will get upset.
Well, that would be a real FU, I feel like. That would be a troll for sure.
Yeah. Will John Mayer sit in? We don't know. All right,
let's say yes, right?
Question. Yeah,
right.
Question. If John Mayer sits in tonight, what do you want to hear him play with Goose? And not having him sit in is not an option.
Yeah.
I think he would do well on a Mr. Action.
Well, I mean, the question is, does he sit in on the Way It Is opener that they're guaranteed to play?
I think it would be a dead cover, right?
It'd be a dead cover. And you'd want it maybe something bluesy, like Mayer's the best, I think, when he's like, I think when his guitar is like kind of like whining. That's like what I love when Mayer plays. And so I don't know. Yeah. Something like Grateful Dead-y and bluesy and, with some soul. I think that'd be good. Yeah, Althea would be awesome. He does a nice job with that.
What do you guys think?
Well, a lot of possibilities. I think I would like it to be a Goose song, but it probably wouldn't be. So I think half step's a fair bet. Good call by Kaz. I think also the 60-minute set kind of, puts it in a box a little bit of what it can be, because I don't know if they're going to play a 13-minute half step, but they might.
I wouldn't expect improv. I would expect 2 trades of guitar solos and Mayer is out. So
yeah,
I mean, that's the thing you're going to get, I think.
Captain Incredible wants Raining Blood. That's a choice.
So why not do Slayer? Sure. At John Mayer's Festival.
It's Rick, but it's in John Mayer's wheelhouse and it's in Rick's wheelhouse. It's right there.
Sure.
Well, we will likely see you guys tomorrow to recap the Rise Festival show, and then after that, we've got Halloween coming up next month, and then Goosemas, and that's it for the year. Also, very exciting. We did allude to it earlier in the tour, but stay tuned this week for our interview with D. James Goodwin. Neil and I sat down with him a few weeks ago, talked about all things Chain Your Dragon, Everything Must Go, working with Goose, and etc. It's a fantastic interview, and can't wait for you guys to hear it. That will be out this week. RJ and Megan, it has been a pleasure, as always, getting to podcast with you guys. Hopefully it doesn't take 16 months for you to see another show. Come on again.
I hope so too. Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was so fun.
No problem. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Always Almost There, day after show live. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will see you very soon.